I'm Alan. I own a 45-foot narrowboat, have an interest in industrial heritage, transport and technology, and invite you to join me as I cruise, repair and maintain my boat, and visit events and places of historic interest. I've just seen some movement on the canal. Some more movement here.
I was reversing.
That's 3 boats I've seen in less than a minute, I would say. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me. I came back yesterday from 2 weeks in Yorkshire, spent with Sally. And whilst there, I looked at some of the reservoirs, and I'm going to show you those a little bit later. Before I left for Yorkshire, it had been announced that the Marina might put the stock planks in across the entrance. That didn't seem surprising from what I saw at Welford and Naseby reservoirs. They were getting very low indeed, and I thought there would be a good chance of that happening whilst I was away. Needless to say, we got notification that it was going to happen, and it was done just before the last weekend. I came back yesterday, so I've just been to take a look to show you just what's gone on in my absence. So this is the closure close up. It looks at the moment that the water is pretty level on both sides. I would say a drop of about 3 inches, which is quite interesting because when I was out recently, I moored near the spillway at Bridge 27, one of my favoured spots, and I actually measured the drop in water, and it was 2.5 inches. This is the first boat I saw today, which has managed to back up and turn around. Some of you will recall a few years ago when they were working on the culvert just up here, and they put dams in and drained that section of the canal, that we put the stock planks in. And at that time, we didn't have this arrangement. We used a lot of heavy weights and things to keep everything in place, because these are quite buoyant, these pieces of timber. When they're put in the water, they want to bob up all the time. And so we needed something heavy to keep them down. And it was decided at the time that we'd put these eyes in and do this sort of arrangement next time it happened. And that looks to be working very well. I was just speaking to a moorer here who has been monitoring the levels, measuring every day, and he has said that it hasn't gone down in the last 2 or 3 days, which is obviously good news. We don't want to see the water levels drop. Also, whilst I was away, there were various Canal and River Trust notifications, not just locally in this area, but all over the country. There have been so many, it's been difficult to keep track of everything. But on the 15th of August, there was an announcement regarding the Buckby flight of locks and also the Braunston flight of locks. I've got them here with me to show you. There is going to be a full closure of the locks from Tuesday, the 26th of August. The notices for both flights are the same and read as follows. Please read the full notice for the detail, but note that these locks are now open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be moving to a full closure on Tuesday, 26th of August. So passage must be completed by 3 p.m. on Monday, the 25th. So that applies to both sets of locks. Now, until this further restriction, the locks had been open between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m, with last boat in at 2 p.m. So that was it up until the 15th of August, and from then until now, and until the closure, they're open between 10 and 3 p.m. And you must make sure you're out by 3 p.m. on Monday the 25th of August, or else. It's a great shame what is happening at the moment, the lack of water. It affects so many people, normal leisure boaters, continuous cruisers, those looking forward to having a holiday on a narrow boat, some maybe for the first time. And it's very, very restricted as to where you can go. This map covers a detailed CRT notification referring to the Grand Union, Oxford and Coventry canals. I have plotted the Leicester Line Summit on it using red dots. Whilst in Yorkshire, I visited Barrowford and Foulridge reservoirs. These are actually in Lancashire, but feed the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Let's see how I got on. I'm here at Barrowford Reservoir and Locks on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. The reservoir was built about 1885 to supply water to the canal, and given the water shortages throughout the country, I wanted to see how the water level was looking. I'm imagining that this wheel controls an outlet at the base of the reservoir to allow water into the canal, which is just on this side over here. I was last here late 2023 when they were doing works on the reservoir. The works involved reprofiling and stabilising the embankment, lowering the water level and providing a new pedestrian walkway around the perimeter. This is what it looked like in late 2023 when the reservoir had been drained for remedial works to be carried out. So I would have thought this new arrangement would have been installed at that time. Very, very different to what we've seen at Welford and Naseby reservoirs. Having looked back to my earlier footage, I noticed there was some former equipment in this corner with steps leading down into the water. There's actually a solar panel on the top here to charge whatever electrical equipment is in the box. I've never seen this reservoir full, so I don't know what it looks like, but we can definitely see that it's very low, much lower than it should be. I've also spotted in the far corner an outfall into the reservoir. This looks like a bywash diverting surplus water into the reservoir, but each canal lock does have its own bywash alongside, which prevents excess water flowing over the lock gates. I have also noted an outflow from the canal between locks 46 and 47, which presumably also feeds into the reservoir. If I walk over here, you can see the canal just there, very close by. There is another lock just under the bridge there. I'm just going down to the water's edge. Welcome to Barrowford Locks. There is a restriction on these locks between 10 and 5 in the afternoon, with the last boat in at 4 o'clock. So I'm just approaching lock 49. The level here is very good actually. Some water seepage through the lock at this end. These gates were replaced in 2012. That's bridge number 143. This is reservoir bridge number 143A. Just above this bridge is a motorway. I'm not sure offhand which motorway it is. I have been here before, and I know that round the corner there's another lock and a further lock some distance from that. Here's Sally.
Hello.
Hello, what you up to?
I'm watching elephants and gorillas.
Elephants and gorillas.
Yeah.
And you've got this lovely scenery here to look at. And you're watching elephants and gorillas. What have you got to say for yourself?
Because I can't leave the van because I'm being your security guard.
Oh, are you?
So
Okay.
I've got to go to the...
We'll let you off then. I'm stood with my back to higher Foulridge reservoir, and I'm facing the lower reservoir. There are two reservoirs at Foulridge. The lower one opened in 1796 and was built to provide water to the Leeds and Liverpool Canal Summit. It is now a popular sailing venue. The upper reservoir was built in 1865 to increase the water supply and is less than a third of the size of the original. Two other reservoirs in the vicinity serving the summit are Slipper Hill and Whitemoor. Another reservoir at Winterburn is much further north, and water is piped 8 miles to the canal. These are all dependent on rainfall to maintain water levels. This is the feed from higher Foulridge reservoir that feeds the lower reservoir, which is behind me at the moment. You can see there is water in the feed channel here, but if we look further around the corner, we will see that it's bone dry. You can just see the channel coming into view now. So the feeder here is bone dry. This is the top of the reservoir. It's quite a busy road behind me. I'll just walk up a little bit further. Looking from here down to the culvert, which I'm stood over, we can see that sandbags have been put in position to stop the flow of water. I've just crossed over the road, and here we can see the feeder channel to the lower reservoir. As I'm not particularly well parked on the side of the road, I'm not going to walk down to the reservoir. In fact, we haven't really got a lot of time today to do that anyway. I'm going to leave this here and hope you enjoyed watching. Look after yourselves, friends and families. Take the utmost care in whatever you're doing. Bye for now. Bye everyone. Take care.